Okay, good morning to all of our favorite 6th grade students. We're going to try something different today, and we are going to do a flipped video for our notes today. So, you've got Mrs. Long here.
And Mr. Tyree on this awesome Monday.
And today we're going to be talking about Unit 1, Lesson 4, which is over solving problems with unit rates. So the great thing about this is that we've already talked about unit rates when we did Lesson 2. So this is just going to build upon what you already know. Alright, so let's start with page 26. We're going to use what we already know. It says, Carolee paints magnets that she sells at craft fairs. She can paint 12 magnets in 4 hours. At this rate, how many magnets can she paint in 2 hours? How many in 10 hours? So we're going to use what we already know to help us solve this problem. Alright, so on part A, it says, what is the ratio of magnets to hours? So let's look back up to the question. What does it give us for our actual ratio? Good, it would be 12 magnets to 4 hours. And you can write that as a ratio or a fraction, it does not matter. So part B says, what ratio do you get if you double the number of magnets and hours? What would we need to do to the 12 and the 4 to get this answer? We would have to multiply each one by 2. So 12 times 2 would give us 24, and 4 times 2 would give us 8. So we would get 24 to 8. Now we need to write your answer in the table. So we come up here, you can see the 8's already here, so all we have to do is put the 24 in the top box. So C then says, how long would it take to paint 6 magnets? And then how do we know? So if we're looking at this, what are we doing to each one of the numbers to figure out what we would need to fill into this box? So, to figure this out, we can look. 6 is half of 12. So we would then need to look at the number of hours, and we would think, what is half of 4? Half of 4 would be 2, so we know it would take 2 hours to paint 6 magnets. So how do we know that? Just like we explained. Because 6 is half of 12, and 2 is half of 4. So now we want to fill in the table with this ratio, so we would come up here and fill in the 2 underneath our 6. Part D says, you know how long it takes to paint 24 magnets and 6 magnets. How can you use that information to calculate how long it takes her to paint 30 magnets? Well, if we take 24 and 6 and we add those together, we get a total of 30 magnets. So if we take the number of hours for 24 magnets, which is 8 hours, and we take the number of hours for 6 magnets, which is 2 hours, we can do the same as we did with the magnets. We can add them together to get a total of 10 hours. Now we just need to fill in the table with our ratio. So we can look up here, it says 30 magnets, we added our 8 hours and our 2 hours, that gives us a total of 10 hours for 30 magnets. So now in part E, it says explain how you can use the information in the table to find out how many magnets she can paint in 1 hour. So, previously when we had 12 to 4, we knew to figure out how many hours for 6 magnets that we looked at the fact that 6 was half of 12 to know that 2 was half of 4. Well, if we look now at the 6 and 2, 1 is half of 2, so what would half of 6 be? Or we can also go back to our original rate of 12 to 4, and if we go back to what we talked about earlier, we can find our unit rate or our related rate, and we would divide both numbers by our second quantity. When we do that, you find that you get 3 to 1. So then we need to fill in our table with this ratio. We would put our 3 here. And you could also look that 1's half of 2 and 3 would be half of 6.
So now we are going to look at page 27. Top of page 27. A table is one way to show the relationship between the number of magnets and time it takes to paint them. A double number line also shows the relationship. Notice that the mark for 6 magnets is halfway between 0 magnets and 12 magnets on the number line and notice that 2 hours is halfway between 0 and 4 hours. You can use halves again to find the rate of 3 magnets in 1 hour. So what they're saying is you can find half of 6 is 3 and half of 2 is 1. Once you find that the unit rate is 3, because we are comparing 3 to 1, so 3 is your unit rate, you can multiply or divide to find other equivalent ratios. Divide the number of magnets by 3 to find how long Carly will take to complete them. So the number of magnets, 30, divided by your unit rate, which is 3, will give you 10 hours. And we see that right here. Carly will take 10 hours to paint 30 magnets. So next, you can multiply the number of hours by 3 to find how many magnets Carly can paint in that time. So looking at this right here, the number of hours times our unit rate will give us our total number of magnets. So if she takes 7 hours, you can multiply 7 hours by our unit rate of 3, which is going to give us 21 total magnets. So by looking at that, we can see that Carly can paint 21 magnets in 7 hours. Reflecting, number 1, explain and show how to use the unit rate to find the missing numbers on the double number line. So to do that, we can look right here and see that if we multiply the number of hours by the unit rate of 3, it will give us the answers that we need. So if we do 3 hours, looking at the blanks above, right here, right here, right there, right here, and right here, we can fill in the number of magnets we need for all of these. So let's go ahead and do that. So 3 would be the next number on the double number line. So if we take 3, multiply that by our unit rate of 3, that will give us how many magnets? Ding, ding, ding. 9. Our next one is going to be 5 hours. So if you do 5 hours times our unit rate of 3, that's going to give us how many magnets? 15. Now we're going to keep going. We just did 5. So next on the number line is going to be 6 right here. So if you do 6 hours times our unit rate of 3, that gives us 18 magnets. So we're going to skip 7 because 7 has already been given to you. We're going to do 8 hours. Again, 8 hours times our unit rate of 3 gives us 24 magnets. And lastly, we have to do 9 hours. If you do 9 hours times unit rate of 3, that's going to give you 27 magnets. Write all of it down.